God damn it, Nixon. Today, we're going to be talking about the upcoming New Age patch, more specifically how Nexon America neutered the entire idea of a 6th job advancement and essentially ruining the biggest hype they've had pretty much ever. What is good, my kings, queens, and everything in betweens? We've all heard it by now, the Oz boxes being nerfed to drop level 1 and 2 Oz rings, instance maps ruining totems on reg servers, the daily cap of 400 Erda energy, and how that means we'll all pretty much be dead before we ever see a single 6 drop skill maxed. How does this make sense? But instead of just sharing my raw thoughts and opinions on the matter, which if you guys are interested, I did make a post in the community tab about it yesterday. But instead of doing that, we're going to be grabbing some hot takes from the web regarding these changes and trying to understand why some players think that these changes might be a good thing. But more importantly, we're going to be exploring why those players are wrong. As always, feel free to share your own thoughts on the matter in the comment section right below that like button. And with that being said, let's have a look at our first take of the video. In a post titled "Do Not Remove Soul Erda Cap, Change 2 per Character" on the official GMS forums, Stakona writes, "Sadly, some players do actually need to be protected from themselves, which means a daily Soul Erda cap is actually very good for the game for 2 reasons. 1. Protect players from themselves, and 2. Speeds up Soul Erda progression for everyone else in the game. The vast majority of players will progress faster each day with a daily system." I'm sorry. Progress faster how with a cap? Literally nobody can progress faster with a cap. Sure, having a daily system, such as a daily quest that rewards Soul Erda energy, can help new players or casual players and even Giga grinders get a little bit more of that resource in a much less time-consuming manner. It literally doesn't lead to the ability to progress faster. So you're telling me if there's no cap on Erda energy, how does that slow you down if the daily quest is still there? You can just go ahead and do that daily quest, or better yet, how about you take the 15 minutes that it would take to currently grind the 400 cap, still do that. Like, nobody's stopping you from doing that. If you can only play for 15 minutes a day, you can still get that 400 Erda energy, except now it just means that the rest of the player base doesn't also have to be gated to what's most accommodating for you and your schedule. It's a very, very selfish take to have, and one that honestly I feel like these players who feel this way don't fully understand. For example, let's say Stakona here misses a week of doing these dailies, okay? He can't cap for 4 weeks. He can't get that 400 Erda energy cap because his mom's in the hospital. God forbid, but she's in the hospital. So Stakona's mom is in the hospital. Now, he's permanently behind 1 week on this daily cap, and he could never make that back up. So he's already going to be starting to get gapped because of a family emergency. And if he is a casual player, which I suspect he is based on his take, casual players aren't going to have it in them to log in every single day religiously to get these dailies done, so they're going to be gapped anyway. So literally, the problem that I believe he's trying to avoid is not only still going to happen with or without the Erda energy cap, it's just making the rest of the player base miserable. And again, it's like everybody else has to suffer because, Stakona can't play as much as, Niru, for example. And as for his first point, protecting players from themselves. Sure, I understand at first that this can seem like a good point, but at the end of the day, we all agreed to a terms of service, and Nexon for the longest time has had this thing in MapleStory that would tell you, hey, you've been playing for X amount of hours, you should probably log off and touch grass, right? I'm sure we all remember it. I don't know if they still do it because I have the system chat off, but regardless, that's something they had implemented in the game. Because yeah, I understand, some people they go too hard to the point where it can, cause damage to themselves or etc. But those are not the players that the game should be built around. Like, in terms of protecting players, you have to imagine that your player base is going to be responsible. It's like never being able to buy a regular kitchen knife to cut a loaf of bread or do whatever you need in the kitchen because you can't trust anyone, since there's a few people that will use that knife to cause harm to either themselves or someone else. Like, you can't just be handing out butter knives to the rest of the world. Like, that's not how that works. It's like saying that we should just remove reg servers altogether because people are going to spend money they don't have maybe and cause themselves to get into debt, and Debt is a big reason for suicide. So there's so many different ways to look at this scenario, and in every single one of those ways, it just doesn't make sense. Of course, I understand the notion of wanting to protect players, but if you're using that for your excuse, I'm sorry, it just does not withstand the questioning. It does not withstand the observation from multiple perspectives, because it is a very flawed mentality and logic to have when discussing these changes that might be coming to the live servers. So Stakona, I'm sorry, but I definitely think that's a hot take, and I think you're in the wrong, bud. Of course, if you guys want to see this post for yourself and see how it ages, see how it progresses, see the discussion, or add to this conversation for yourselves, I will be leaving the link in the description below, so feel free to chime in. Our second take comes from a commenter on Twitch who says, as a level 285 player, I welcome the Sol Erda cap. Extending the life of the game is important, which obviously we can all agree with. We want to make sure we have content for a long time to come. However, my guy, I hate to break it to you, but if the way that game you're playing has to extend its content, or the lifeline of that game is by absolutely gating your progression in the latest implementation to their character progression system, to the point where it's going to take you roughly a year and 8 months to max one of the skills, knowing damn well that more skills are going to be added as that time continues to pass. Like, if that's the way that they need to extend the life of the game, then there's truly no hope for that publisher and or developer, because that means that those employees are way too lazy to come up with more different and interesting ways to actually continue to breathe life into that game. Having and running a successful MMO doesn't mean you come up with this giga content and just put it out there and then you chill for 10 years. That's not how it works. You're constantly needing to think about the next thing, and at the same time, what you do release needs to be rewarding enough to keep players, motivated, to keep players entertained. Like, it already feels awful to have to wait like multiple weeks to get a single level on a sacred symbol. Like, that already feels bad. So I can't imagine how awful it would feel to have that system not only take longer, but to also be more important than sacred symbols currently are. Furthermore, I find it ironic that this person is actually more worried about extending the lifeline and longevity of the game than the actual game itself, because hello, Korean MapleStory, the absolute, golden breadwinner of the MapleStory universe. They're the ones that make 90% plus of the entire revenue that MapleStory as a product creates. They don't have a cap on this shit. So how are you more worried than Wonky is? Explain that, and then maybe we can further this discussion more. But until then, I think you're a bozo. Like, straight up, you're a bozo. Next. Alright guys, for this next one, I really need you to bear with me. Bear with me. I know it's getting tougher and tougher to stay in your seat. I get it. I'm right there with you, but we need to. This is a necessary part of getting, all players on board to really understand why these changes are no bueno. Okay, this next one is another commenter on Twitch. In this instance, it's a copy pasta of someone's genuine take that has been confirmed, and the take is as follows. No one wants to get/feel left behind. A cap takes away the FOMO. It's just that blunt and simple. I'm not sure why it's so hard to understand that. I don't want to feel left behind while only having 1 hour to play daily. A cap aligns with my agenda. That's literally it. If you have more than an hour, go invest it into something else. I see no reason. I'm sorry, this part cracks me up. I see no reason. Hold on. I see no reason why you should I see no reason why you should be stronger just because you spend, in quotations, more time. Must be hard having your life revolve around MapleStory, I guess. Okay, so whatever position you do for your career, right? Since you're so busy, I'm gonna assume you have one, right? Let's go with that. Whatever position you have, how would you feel if someone with less experience than you got paid more? What if their argument was, just because you have more experience, you spent more time doing this job, doesn't mean you should get paid more? Like, how does that make sense? You shouldn't be rewarded more for, the time you spent doing whatever it is that you do. Like, bro, where are you? Who are you? What are you? Like, W5H are you, my guy? Like, straight up, like, I don't understand. Like, first of all, if you're so FOMO prone, okay? If you're so prone to FOMO, you cannot be playing an MMO, okay? Like, First of all, get it out of your head that you're ever going to beat anyone in an MMO if you have 1 hour to play the game. Get that out of your head. You're nobody. You're literally nobody. You need to depend on the Giga Grinders to ever progress any content in any MMO. Prove me otherwise or you're dead to me. That's first of all. Second of all, nobody's asking if a cap aligns with your agenda because, quite frankly, if MapleStory aligned their patches with people who can only spend 1 hour playing the game, how long do you think the game will live? How long is that game going to survive if it's mainly catering these huge updates to players that can only play for 1 hour a day? And then you want to try and get nasty and say, must be hard having your life revolve around MapleStory, I guess. It must be hard being a little... No. Yeah, you're wrong. You're wrong. And if you are the originator of this take, by all means, let's have a discussion in the comments. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing, but until then, I think this one is a very hard nope. Not it, bud. Not it. All right, and honestly, guys, I think I'm going to call it there because any more of this and I will truly pop a blood vessel. Let me know what you guys thought of this video. We have one more comment here real quick. You know, it's pretty much in alignment with the most previous one we just read and discussed, but it essentially says possibly, but having a cap puts a person that plays 14 hours a day and a person who plays 1 hour a day on the same level, which is, well, ... beneficial for anyone who plays 1 hour and doesn't want to feel left out. Like, FOMO can't exist for you if you only have an hour to play any game. Like, it's not even specific to MMOs anymore. Like, you can get away with progressing in certain games on mobile. And sure, there's games like that, but if you at all think that MapleStory, as massive of a game as it is, with all these varying types of progression that aren't gated, by the way, such as mesos or node stones, etc., like, all of these things require you to spend a lot of time doing to actually get somewhere in the game. Like, you're not going to ever get anywhere if you're not constantly, you know, farming mesos, at least on a weekly basis with boss mules, which take mesos to get to that point in the first place. Like, if you're only playing 1 hour a day, suck it up. You're gonna be gapped. You're getting gapped, and that is what it is. It doesn't mean you can't play and enjoy the game. Like, find other players that don't have much time to play either, and hope the stars align so you guys can hop on at the same time and progress together in that way. I'm sure there's people like that, because if so many people are having this perspective, and I say so many, but I know it's the minority in this instance, but still, you know, even one person is too many. Am I right? But you know, if there's people like this, then link up and enjoy the game at that rate together. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, play at your own pace. Don't feel FOMO'd out, because at the end of the day, everyone else is being gapped. Like, first place is first place. Everyone else is gapped. You're not alone, right? Just the length of the gap is different, but we're all gapped. I'm gonna be hella gapped. I'm not a giga grinder like that, and that's okay. But the players that do, you know, have the time and take the time to play the game nonstop, like, kudos to those motherfuckers, bro. Like, give them whatever they want. Like, let them max that shit out in a month or whatever the quickest time possible is gonna be. Like, let them get that. They earned that shit. They're doing what none of us could. And the fact that you want to castrate that is like, get out of here. Like, you're not that important. I'm sorry, but you're just not that special. But that's actually going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys thought. If you guys felt like I was wrong at any point in time in this video, let me know. I'm open to discussion. I'm human too. I make mistakes, but I think that some of this, I think that is kind of crazy that honestly not all of us are on the same page. I'm a little bit disappointed. It is what it is, but I think with continuing this discussion, we can eventually get there where every single player can see eye to eye and agree that these changes that might be coming to the game are absolutely atrocious and disgusting. And Nexon, you're filthy for this. I hate you. It's a shame that you guys are in charge of this game. That's all from me. See y'all later. Peace.